Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Sammons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by Alicia Dee, founder of Thriveworthy, a coaching and consulting company dedicated to helping leaders and experienced professionals create cultures where people thrive and connect with their authentic selves. With a focus on purpose, Alicia empowers executives and leaders to find meaning and step into leadership. Very warm welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me, Alicia.
Thank you. Great to be here.
No, excited to have you here. So, with all of my guests, I do like to start at the beginning of their journey. So, can you take me back to what it was that you was doing before you started up the company, and then from there, what motivated you to do?
So, I spent the bulk of my career, 25 years, in financial services as an HR and talent development executive. So, played various roles, mostly at JP Morgan, and then most recently, before starting Thriveworthy, as a CHRO of an asset management firm. And in all of those roles, I was really driven by helping people reach their full potential. And I noticed so many people in the different environments I was in who were thriving, like felt like they were in the right job at the right time, they had the right skills that aligned with what they wanted to do. And then I saw so many people who weren't. In HR, sometimes you're called in when the things aren't going so well. And I just noticed the difference between where people were really aligned and where people were not. Fast forward, once I was a CHRO, and that was to me like the pinnacle of my career. That was the job. And they say that your mess becomes your message. And I think in some ways, my personal journey then became what I
Yeah,
created with Thriveworthy. But I was in what I considered to be the job, the pinnacle of my career, and I just didn't feel aligned. Like I
yeah,
was not able to show up as the mom I wanted to show up as. My daughter clearly needed me home more. My anxiety was at an all-time high. And it just got to the point where like my discomfort outweighed my fear. And I finally took the leap and I left corporate and then
Mm,
started my own business. And that was something that was always in the back of my mind. I thought I'd do it like 5 years down the road, not
okay.
at the time that I did it. But I just, in doing a ton of soul searching, I realized like this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people find and follow a path they loved. I wanted to help people be in alignment, and I wanted to help executives and leaders step into their authentic leadership. And so I
Love
started
that.
Worthy.
Yeah, and as you say, your mess has become your message, which is, I've never heard that saying before, but I really love the way you put it. Because a lot of the founders and coaches I speak to, it does their problems or even stress that they was going through at that time, realized how they wanted to help other people get through the same way. So how did you find that switch from corporate world to entrepreneurship when you went through that?
So I would say great in so many ways, in the sense that I loved being in charge of my schedule. Like I loved
Yeah.
being able to manage my life and my work the way I wanted to. It felt great to be doing what I was super passionate about, because when you're really aligned and doing what you want to do, there's so much more flow and
Yeah.
less stress in a certain kind of way. So I love that. But I think most entrepreneurs, I don't think this is unique to me, there's a lot of fear to step through. You're
Yeah.
no longer in like the safety net of a big corporate environment. And so you, there's a lot of self-development, I think, that happens within that, and working through your own limiting beliefs and fears to be able to
Mm,
continue that journey and show up the way you want to. That was all part of it for me also. And then there's also like you're the only person when you're a
yeah.
solopreneur. Like you're used to tons of resources in corporate. I became a master delegator in corporate, and then you get to the point where it's like I don't have actually anyone to delegate to.
Yeah.
Like I have to do all of
Where's
it.
the delegation going?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's good in that, because it's like everything is like a new thing and you can be creative and you can do it the way you want to do it. But at the same time, I think especially as you start to scale, you have to find ways to offload certain things.
Yeah, 100%. It's the balancing act of working in the company and working for the company sometimes. Is again, speaking
Yeah.
with founders, wearing those many hats and juggling the jobs throughout the day is the stress of the solopreneur. But
Yeah.
we digest because it's not so much stress and it is enjoyable at the end of the day. So the listeners can have a little bit more context. Let's dive a little bit more into the business model and what it looks like today. So, who would you say is your ideal customer? And off the back of that, how is it that you help them and what services do you provide for them?
Sure. So I have two parts to my business. I have what I call my personal development offerings, which are really geared towards experienced professionals who want to find
Hmm.
and follow a new path. And I help them work through their limiting beliefs, develop the mindsets and the frame of mind really to
Mm,
pursue their passions, their talents, and really look at their career in a different way. And so much of it is about identity, so much of it is about mindset, really shifting from that kind of scarcity mindset that I think we're all grounded in or we've been conditioned in throughout our whole life to more of an abundance mindset and to be able to look at possibilities as opposed to probabilities to open themselves up to the opportunities. And so it's a lot of rewiring old beliefs and letting go of what no longer serves them along with all of the good career strategic guidance, being in HR for 25 years. So,
yeah.
yes, we do resumes and elevator pitches and all that. But in my experience, you got to get your head right first to be connecting with what you really want to connect with. And my message to people is you don't need to stay stuck. You don't need to stay in a career that doesn't serve you or that's not aligned to who you are and what you want. You can design the career and life you want. And that's also why I called it Thrive Worthy. I think so much of this work comes to comes from fostering a deep sense of deservingness, really
Yeah.
understanding that you are worthy of thriving. And that's my tagline and my message to everyone is we are all worthy of thriving. We do not need to stay stuck. And so that's on the personal development side. I do one-to-one coaching. I also have the Pathfinder Experience, which is a group coaching experience. And then on the corporate side, I do executive coaching and I'll work with teams who need some work to come together and thrive. And so, generally speaking, I've worked with larger companies and smaller companies. I think a lot of times it's some of the smaller companies who need more of that because they might not have quite such an HR function around
Gotcha.
them. But yeah, I love that work also with companies since I was in HR for so long. So it brings me back to that. But
Love it. So we have the B2B and then obviously the B2C side. So in terms of the coaching and the B2C side, how long is it that you typically spend working with a prospect or a client? How long is that one-to-one coaching, or does that depend on them and the needs moving forward?
yeah, it depends on them and the needs going forward. I'd say on the corporate side, that sort of evolves. It depends on
Yeah.
kind of what's going on, but usually a coaching engagement on the corporate side would be somewhere between 16 and 20 weeks. Usually involves a 360 process and getting
Yeah.
feedback from people and integrating that. On the personal development side, my typical engagement has been like a 12-week package, but I'm realizing that's a bit light for the
Okay.
transformation that people are really going for. So now I'm offering a 20 session package. Um,
Nice.
and and it really is because the people who are coming to me, they're like stuck, not happy. They're like where I
Mm.
was a couple of years ago and
Mm.
want to do something else, but don't know how to find that path and worry that they're not going to be able to create the lifestyle they desire doing it. And so that does require digging deep and doing
Yeah.
to really get to the point of implementing whatever their new path is takes a bit longer. So now I'm offering a 20 session package for that.
Yeah, as you touched on before, it's not just, as you say, like rewriting CVs or resumes or finding the path they want. It's actually unlocking the path within them as well sometimes. That I'm imagining the biggest struggle is actually if you get someone they don't know what they're looking for and they don't know, they just know they need a change. That must be the added time on top. 100 if it's correct.
Yeah, and that's really, and that is often where people are when they come to me. And I love how you said that it's unlocking what's within them because that's 100% what this is. And I've created tools and frameworks to help people do that
Mm,
work. But it's really tuning into your higher self. Like it's quieting the noise. It's turning off all the voices around you who are well-meaning but may or may not really understand what you need and who you are.
Yeah.
And it's tapping into that higher voice, regulating your nervous system, and being able to get in touch with those true fundamental desires. Because at the end of
Mm.
the day, like the universe wants nothing more than for us to be our full, worthy, authentic selves. That is, in my mind, a truth.
Yeah.
And, but yet, so many of us are not there. And so that's what this business is about, helping people connect
Love,
to that. So, yeah.
yeah, love it. In terms of how do you go about acquiring your customers? What are you finding that's working for you at the moment in terms of are you doing cold outreach? Are you implementing ads? What are you finding most effective?
Yeah, so it's mainly through referrals. So
Okay.
it's people who had come across me in my prior lives, people who see what I'm doing now on LinkedIn,
Mm.
Instagram, and people who I run into in my day to day. And I started this, I don't think I said this before, because I saw a need that there were so many
Yeah.
people, not just me, I had my own path, but so many people living out of alignment with who they are and what they want.
100%.
And people, particularly post-COVID, like feeling that they wanted something more. I think more and more
Mm.
people are feeling like they want more meaningful work, more alignment with purpose, and that they're not willing or wanting to like sacrifice their family lives and their
Yeah.
sanity, energy, whatever, for doing the whole grind. And I just saw so many people in that spot that I was just like, I feel called to create something to bring together all the career stuff, coaching, and then all the more holistic, soulful that I've learned to create something new.
Yeah, no, I love the way that it marriages together, as you say, bring in holistic, soulful work, spiritual work, and then incorporate it into business. Because COVID did highlight a lot of, I don't know the right word to put it, but a lot of restraint in people realizing that their life isn't maybe where they wanted it. They're losing out on family time. It put a lot of perspective into the world, I feel. And as you say, your journey is just one of many that maybe don't even know themselves, have not realized it yet. They don't know what they need to unlock. They don't know what they need to look into to move forward, which is
Exactly.
what I love so much about the journey. So
Exactly.
then,
All the answers are within us.
yeah,
That's the other thing I found in my fundamental belief. Like it's just a matter of teasing those answers out. I've had some clients who are like the most stuck, looking for another job in a career that they don't like, continuing
yeah,
the black hole of LinkedIn, getting rejected, and then you get in that whole energetic cycle of getting rejected and like what that does to your mindset and your energy. And then really digging deep and then figuring out, okay, wait, I don't want to be in this anymore. I actually want
mhm,
to start my own business and start this venture. And it's a beautiful thing when you can
it
get
is.
that.
It is. And I do want to shift back a little bit to the business and then I want
Sure.
to move on to the plans for the future.
Sure.
So, in terms of being a solopreneur, are you still on your own or do you have a team that are helping you out with in terms of things like marketing and sales at the moment? How is that
Yeah.
going for you?
So I have a virtual assistant, so that's been hugely helpful. And she helps keep things on point and do some of the operational administrative stuff to free me up. I am in the process of speaking with a couple of people about providing some more social media marketing support.
No,
And I'm fortunate that there are people in my network and people who have actually gone through my program, so they understand the brand and whatnot. So
that's
working
always
through
good.
that. Yeah. So it's, I think that's the biggest thing for me right now to scale is to have a more consistent, repeatable process around marketing and social media. So but that's it. That's the support I
Yeah.
have right now, and then need to continue to look at that.
Okay, amazing. So then in terms of when you onboard a new client, are you running any form of sales call or do you have a sales process that you work through at the moment? What does that side of things look like for you?
I do a what I call a career clarity call. In essence, a discovery call, but it's a free call to get to know them, understand their
Hmm.
needs, discuss Thriveworthy, discuss how I can help them. And so that's the first conversation. People who have more knowledge of me and what I'm doing and or who knew me from past lives, that goes more quickly. But for
Yeah,
people who are coming in cold, then sometimes that takes a little bit more nurturing to get to the point of signing on. That's kind of
nice. Yeah,
approach.
nice things.
Yeah,
But as you say, building a bit of rapport until you actually jump in and do the work and making sure it looks good on both ends. And
exactly.
then as you come to scale, how are you looking to get your message out there and implement that? Have you thought about running paid ads across social media? Is that the next step for you, or is it just to increase the organic outreach that you've got going at the moment?
Where I am now is really, I think, doing the organic outreach and just showing up more consistently. Social media. I've already seen good things now that I'm doing more of that. So like I think the more consistent I am with that,
Very true.
the more consistent the leads will be from that. And I'm also working on digitizing the content of the Pathfinder experience to have an on-demand course,
Nice.
and ultimately want to turn that into probably more of a membership, because I think, this work is not like a once and done. You can do a coaching package, and which is great and a great
Mm,
way to get the transformation started, but I want things that people can continue to come back to and have
yeah.
a library of meditations, visualizations, things to support them. And so with developing the online on-demand course, as well as I want to start a podcast, I feel like those things together
Yeah.
will help that whole sales process and building the relationship with ThriveWorthy.
100%. Yeah, the podcast is a great form as well to get your message out there and just build that rapport before even people even know who you are. As you're saying, the problem with the referral system coming through is the consistency of it. And then
Yeah.
the problem online is getting people to trust you and know you before they've come through and actually know who you are. So the podcast is a great way to do that. I like that you're introducing that. Have you got any other kind of goals or milestones that you're looking forward to hitting in the next 12 months?
I think those are the main ones. I think getting the online course out there, uh,
Yeah.
building the content library so I can do more of a membership approach, and then getting the podcast out there. I think those like three things are my big things for the next 6 to 12.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah,
And then so, as we come to an end, I do want to be respectful of your time. I want to shift into a little bit of a lightning round with you.
sure.
So, what would you say is the best piece of advice that you've ever received about scaling a company?
I don't know if this is going to answer your question perfectly, because I'm not sure it's totally only about scaling, but I think just the mantra of progress over perfection. And I think the as a perfectionist in rehabilitation, or whatever, however you want to call that, you can it's easy to stop yourself. It's easy to not get started on something, whether that's starting the business to begin with, or whether it's starting a particular project or offering. And it's just let go of that progress over perfection, just do it. And so
Yeah.
I think with scaling, that's been a thing that I've continued to just try and focus on. Just do it imperfectly,
Yeah.
put it out there. And I guess the other thing I would say is just protect your energy. Like, it's
Nice.
easy
I like
as
that
a
one.
solopreneur
Yeah.
to just go, and it's all about energy. You need to protect your energy to be able to put it out there, and you've got to create the boundaries for yourself
Mm.
to recharge and to be able to show up again and again.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's applicable throughout life and not just in entrepreneurship sometimes.
Exactly.
Amazing. And then if you could go back to a younger self, so
Yeah.
maybe a couple years ago, and you
Mhm.
could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, what would you say to yourself?
I'm going back to myself a couple years ago, or like a lot years ago.
I would say a couple, maybe 3 years ago, as you was moving from corporate world to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. What would I say? I think I would say, and I say, and this is true for my clients as well, you have everything you need within you to be successful. Like, you are a soul who has a path. You're here for a reason. And all of your experiences have brought you to this point and make you uniquely qualified to follow your path. And so don't hold back from that. Don't, like, your talents are needed in the world, and you have everything you need to be
Oh,
successful and to bring them to bear.
powerful stuff. I like that one. And then as a final note to our listeners who are maybe just at the start of their own journey, what advice would you leave them with to help moving forward?
I would say just begin. It's like having a baby. You never feel ready. But if
Yeah.
you think that you want to be a founder, if you think you want to start something, just do it. And like I said before, do it imperfectly, just do it. You don't
Love
need to
it.
be an A student, you can be a C student. You just need to get out there, and action creates clarity.
Yeah. As you said before, nothing needs to be perfect. It's just starting and getting it done and then working on perfection at the
Yeah.
end.
But we
Yeah.
all think that, I don't know about you, but I certainly have felt like things do need to be perfect.
Oh,
And
yeah.
actually, that's just a different way of self-abandonation because it's really about iterating. And there have been things that I've put out there that worked well. There have been things that I put out there that I learned from and that I need to modify. So it's just iterating and continuing on the journey.
It is. Just keep doing you, moving forward. I love it.
Yeah, you do
Thank you.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can people reach out to work with you and connect if they would like to do?
Yeah, my website is www.thriveworthy.com. And people can also find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and can reach out via email at Alicia, Alicia, at thriveworthy.com.
Amazing. So thank you to Alicia for joining us, and to our listeners, please go and check out her page and all the great stuff that she's doing at the moment. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future by wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.